Hey there, it's Teresa with what I thought was going to be a spontaneous, pull it together really quick Facebook Live here, hot off the press of an amazing coaching call with one of my Claim Your Money Power clients. But I forgot how long it takes to get the camera set up and type in things and get everything ready. So give me a moment to catch my breath so I can get back in touch with this powerful image that came through on this call that might speak to you. Bottom line, do you know what cucumbers and financial success have in common? Yeah, it's a new one for me too. Hey Carol, so glad you could join. This is a fun one. And I have a call at the top of the hour, so I'm going to have to be on point. So let me just jump in. Let me give you some background about this client that I was working with. She's a female entrepreneur. She's been in business for years. She's absolutely great at what she does. Her clients love her. And she has debt. And she has no money in savings. And she works her butt off, long hours in her business, and she makes a lot of money in her business, but the moment it comes in, it's gone. It's taken for something, some bill, the debt, you name it. Any chance you can relate to this? Because if you can, you're like one of my tribe, because I sure know this one. Needless to say, given these results, she doesn't think she's financially successful. And she feels frustrated and embarrassed and inadequate and tired and ashamed. And this came out on this call today. And so I pulled out a quote from one of my favorite authors, Maria Nemeth, in her book, The Energy of Money. And I've got it right here. And in that book, she says, financial success is something you demonstrate in the moment. It's not a goal out in front of you. Get that? Something you demonstrate in the moment. It's not a goal out in front of you. It's not a destination you achieve one day out there when such and such happens. Maria Nemeth goes on to say, you could start being financially successful today just by taking one small step and then another toward changing your relationship with money. So I shared that quote with my client. And then I went so far as to say, I bet that never once in your life have you ever considered yourself to be financially successful. And she nodded, and quite truthfully, like tears came to her eyes. It was so hard for her to admit that truth. She felt like such a failure, so inadequate. But the only problem with that belief that she has so solidly, and she has so much evidence for, that she's not financially successful, is that belief gets in the way of her ever being financially successful. See, she thinks she can't be financially successful until she's paid off her debt, until she has money in the bank, until she has money for her future retirement, until her business is more profitable and she's generating more personal income. That's her picture of financial success. And no matter how hard she works, she's not getting any closer to it. And then this truly inspired analogy came through to me, and never as a conscious thought. I've never spoken it before. I looked at her and I said, you know what? I hear you. I hear you that you don't think you're financially successful because you haven't had these results. A lot of people would agree with you. But what would you think if when I planted a cucumber seed in my garden, that cucumber thought it wasn't a successful cucumber until it had actually produced a cucumber. What would that cucumber, who doesn't think it's a successful cucumber because it hasn't yet produced a cucumber, do? And she came back and she said, well, it probably wouldn't grow. I said, exactly. See, when I plant that cucumber seed in the ground, it gets watered and then it germinates and it starts to sprout and it produces a root and it starts to grow up through the soil. It breaks through the soil. It produces its first leaf, then its second leaf. Pretty soon it's trailing up my trellis, all of which is being a successful cucumber, or cucumberly successful, if that's a word. And it still hasn't produced a single cucumber. Yet all of those steps, all of that growth is being successful. Are you with me? Do you get this? My client and me and so many of the people I work with, we think that we're not abundant, we're not financially successful until we've produced X result. But then that belief prevents us from taking the steps of sprouting and growing some more, and doing those necessary actions that can produce that fruit. Now, she doesn't know what a lot of those actions are. That's why she's in my Claim Your Money Power program, so she can learn them. That's why many people come into my Claim Your Money Power program. And some of those actions have to do with money directly, but a lot of them have nothing, at least apparently, to do with money. And yet every one of them, one action at a time, one moment at a time, is you, my clients, me, being financially successful, being abundant, being empowered with money. And that, my friend, is what over time, and sometimes not much time, produces fruit. This shift that she can be, is being financially successful every time she takes one step, like Maria Nema says, to change her relationship with money, has already changed so much for her. Her whole energy shifted, her whole attitude shifted, where she was kind of feeling like, what's the point? Futility, it's not going to work, hopeless, because she still saw herself as not being financially successful. Now she has a new way to think of herself and her process. And I already know, and she will learn soon, that those fruits she's long pursued and worked so hard and struggled so hard to have and has not had, well, they're not that far down the road. And there's my cuckoo clock underscoring that message. One day, very soon, because of this change and because of this approach, seeing herself as successful every time she takes an empowered action with money. This is what's going to have money be in the bank for her, I would say, very soon, before this program ends. This is what's going to have her become debt-free and start reducing that debt rapidly. And the same thing can be so for you. So, are you being financially successful? Not because of the fruit you've produced, but because of what actions you're taking and where you're taking them from. More clocks in the background underscoring this message. If you want to be, if you know you can be but don't know how, if you want to make this shift inside of you as well as outside of you, then I would love to support you like I'm supporting her and so many others have been supported through this program. All you have to do is apply for a free strategy call with me, and we'll get to work. On that call, you'll already make some shifts and see what's getting in the way of you eating cucumbers for the rest of your life and enjoying them. Thanks so much for being here. Carol, can't wait to hear your response. If you're listening to it later, let me know your questions. Let me know your comments. And again, this sounds like the kind of support you're looking for. Apply for your free strategy session. Have a great day, all. Bye-bye. Thanks for being here.